Are you a React guy or an Angular guy or a Vue guy? Boy, that is so mainstream. The real OGs are building web apps with KnockoutJS. Okay, jokes aside, I think KnockoutJS can be considered a legacy library. I made a video on this topic explaining why I think you should not use Knockout anymore. Have a look at the top right corner if you're interested. It is still not unlikely that you will come across a Knockout project somewhere. In this case, it might be good to have some debugging hacks at hand, and I would like to show you two tricks that are often used when working with KnockoutJS. Let's go. Okay, so to show you what I mean, let's take a look at this beautiful piece of art. This is obviously a list of people. Let me show you the code. I have the desk data here, a knockout mapping, and an observable where I store the person data. Then in the HTML, I have a table with a for each binding on the table body that iterates over the person's observable. For each person, I create a table row with cells, each with an input field. This results in this table where I can edit all the information for the people shown. So we iterate over an array of objects. What if you want to know what a particular HTML element is bound to? For example, I want to know the actual data for this particular row. This can be very helpful to know, especially when dealing with nested components and view models where it is easy to lose track of things. To deal with this, you can use the data4 function built into Knockout, and you can do this in the browser debugger console. First, you right-click on the element you want to inspect, let's say this row, and then you click on Inspect. Now you are in the Elements tab and the element is selected. Here we already see something that is very important for us, because with $0 you can access the selected element in the console just like this. So when you call a JavaScript function in the debugger console that takes an HTML element as a parameter, you can use $0. And we will do this now for ko.data4, which will give us the object to which this HTML element is bound. And we see this object with an age, a country, a first name, and a last name, which is the entry of the person array to which this entire table row is bound. Depending on what element you call this function on, you may also get the view model itself, which can be also quite helpful sometimes because you can access everything in the view model that way. Okay, so much for this Knockout debugging hack. I have another one that might be useful sometimes. Let's look at the code again. Here you see this observable called is30, which can be true or false, indicating whether the user has made changes. This observable is set to true whenever a change is made in one of the input fields, just like that. This subscribe function that you can see here can also be used for debugging purposes to track which part of the code changed the value of an observable. You can either put such a subscribe here in the code, or you can do it in the debugger console of the browser. To do this, I access the view model as we saw before and add a subscribe to the is30 observable by simply adding a function that contains a debugger statement. When we make a change in the UI, we hit the debugger statement and can now look at the call stack to see where the observable was changed. Believe me, this can sometimes help cure the headaches you're sure to have in a larger Knockout project. Okay, so these are my 2 debugging hacks for KnockoutJS. If this video was helpful to you, feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel. Once again, if you're interested in why I think you should not use KnockoutJS anymore, watch this video next. Thanks for watching, bye!